should not mix these two. Okay? So, text 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Mayeva mana atatspa mayi bhutam nishevaya. Nivasishasi mayeva ata utvam nasamsaya. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. So that's called samadhi, the highest stage of the yoga ladder. So there is somewhat a relationship, but it's not that this can be called a ladder or a yoga ladder. That's not something. So just fix your mind upon me, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Two things. Use your intelligence in the service of Krishna, always. And always think of Krishna. Act for his service, to please Krishna, always. So who can do that here? Someone is on that level here? No, you never think of something else than Krishna? Most of us are not. That's the description of the Uttam Adhikar, the one who is on the highest platform. One who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme. So, engaged in service means doing it consciousness for the pleasure of Krishna. Consciousness. Conscious. And that is, then one lives in a relationship with Krishna. Living in a relationship means engaging in service, and do that consciously. But it means also understanding we are not the doer. Seeing how Krishna is everything, is doing everything, and we are only the instrument. That's an eligibility to think always of Krishna. Not to think oneself the controller and the enjoyer. One must have given that up, otherwise one cannot do that. Because otherwise one is a competitor of Krishna. So living in devotional service with devotion out of love. That's not like Kamsa, he was also thinking of Krishna. Sisupal was also always thinking of Krishna, but not out of love. Yes. So, most of us cannot do that. Then, what to do? We are not on that level. Krishna tells us in the next verse what to do. Atasyam samadatum na shaknani maishtiram abhyasa yoginatatum amichaptum tananja. My dear Arjuna, winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principle of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So what is Krishna saying here? Well, that you must follow the principles of sadhana bhakti. All those who chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles and are engaged in service, they are sadhakas. And what's the purpose of sadhana? Just chanting my rounds and is finished.
To regulate the senses.
To regulate the senses.
Purify the mind.
Purify the mind.
To develop attraction to Krishna.
That's it. That's the main purpose. Develop a desire to attain me. Because you need a desire to always think of Krishna. The desire must be cultivated. And that desire is cultivated in association of devotees. And then you get a higher taste. That's cultivating this desire. It's very important. That everything depends on desire. By desire we become conditioned. By desire we become liberated.
But also desire coming from the taste. Desire also coming from the taste. When you experience a high taste of devotion service, you desire to do it.
You eat a nice pizza and you want more. Next time you want the same pizza, right? Desire is there. You tasted it. It's not only on the spiritual platform, but as well.
In material also.
Yeah, that taste. Yeah, the desire. That. How do we develop desire in this world? How does
By
it
meditation.
Meditation, right?
By, what was that verse?
Dayate, Visya, Pumsam, Sanghastesha Bhajayate, Sangha Sayate Kama, Kamkoda Vichayate. You had another idea? No?
The association with those who have the taste.
Who have the taste. That, yes, that's the process. But it's always starts with meditation. That, if you have association of those who have likewise the meditation, that will be conducive, right? But it's meditation.
Which is this verse? Which is this verse?
Dayate Visya, it's 260 or something. It's you wanted it exactly Dayate Visya. It's in the text at the end of the second chapter. (262). While contemplating on the objects of the senses, a person develops attraction for them. So if we develop attachment to anything in this world, that will make us conditioned. Spiritual life starts also with dayate, but on spiritual objects. What are the spiritual objects we meditate on?
Objects of sense gratification. There are so many varieties.
Spiritual objects.
Krishna.
Spiritual.
His holy names.
Yeah. That meditation on spiritual objects is encouraged through sadhana. We chant Krishna's names, right? Meditation on the names. That meditation on prasad, mostly not so difficult, right? It's also spiritual. That, yes. Meditation on the deities. And that's meditation on hearing the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, what we do right now. It should be part of our sadhana. Every day repeating these verses, nice meditation. That should be part, regular study. The Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's books. And daily association with devotees is also part of our sadhana. Yeah. The whole program, our morning program, is sadhana. We should have a sandwich. In the morning, hearing and chanting, morning program, and in the evening, before going to bed, we are hearing Bhagavad Gita, discuss Bhagavad Gita, chant Krishna's names. That, and during the day, we prepare prasadam for Krishna, so many things. The sadhana. And that will develop the desire. The desire, because we meditate on these spiritual objects. Holy name is no different from Krishna. Krishna is the most attractive. So, how does the taste develop? How to attain taste in our lives. Yes?
Association.
Where is that in the scriptures?
Association.
That by association we develop taste.
So generally said that we should not associate with materialistic people.
We- Yeah, that's not of instruction. That's good advice. But how will that give us taste?
Pray Krishna.
Because it's a subtle thing.
Give me a verse that explains that how we get taste.
Verse for taste.
Hmm?
There was one verse in Bhagavad Gita that you have to in order to
Paramdristvami.
paramdristam,
To get higher taste, but how do you get it?
Devotional service.
That's
Engage.
too vague,
Just engage.
too general.
Engage our activities, sacrifice.
By the
our-
mercy.
Too general.
Oh, by satisfying the spiritual master.
We are coming closer, but that's not the only thing. Vasudeva Kataruchi Shanmat Seva. Yeah, Vasudeva Kataruchi Shanmat Seva. Yeah, Vasudeva Kataruchi. Good. The next one. Vasudeva Kataruchi. 1 to 16, I think.
1 to 16.
Vasudeva Kataruchi. Oh yeah, Vasudeva Kataruchi. No, sorry. Susya Danasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Chanmatsi Vyabhipa Punyatirtan Shivana. Two elements that we must combine to produce to produce taste. Susrusa is hearing. Hearing with great attention. Okay. Vasu, yeah. Susrusa Shadadanasya Srila Prabhupada. He translates with care and attention. Hearing with care and attention. So this Bhagavatam class, we should take to it as our spiritual life depends on it. Hearing with attention, everything else, throw it on the out his phone. Concentrate on what we have to do. One pointed attention. Shodhanasya. Vasudeva Kataruchi. Vasudeva means Krishna. Ruchi means
Those who have taste.
attachment, attraction, taste. So the verse explains how to get taste. Taste for hearing about Krishna is taste. Shanmatse Vipra. One must not only hear with great attention, one must please the spiritual master by service, the Mahatma by service. Serving his mission. Punyatirthani Sevana. That's the highest auspicious activity. That combination gives taste. Sometimes devotees, they are hearing, but not engaging in the mission. Not going on Harinam, book distribution, not taking part in programs that on their own they read. That's not sufficient. That one must hear it in association of devotees. That and serve. And then it becomes effective. Then one gets taste. Taste comes by the mercy of the spiritual master, not by my routine activities of sadhana. That's an illusion. I follow a strict sadhana, and I'm going to make spiritual advancement. Good idea. But that's not sufficient. That has to be understood to get taste.
Which verse is that?
It's always the second chapter. That's 1-16. Because if one gets taste, what does Krishna do? Shrimvatasva Krishna if you do know its system. Krishna enters the heart and starts to cleanse the heart of one who has become attracted to hearing about him. Interesting. Attraction to hearing. So that's sadhana. Sadhana, but everyone is not ready to follow sadhana. No. That most will not. That and what for them? No. It's text 9. Atta sitam samatatam nasakshne maistram abhyasi ugnatato mam itsaptu naranja. My dear Arjuna, winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principle of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So, that we just discussed, that's the sadhana. There are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to be ultimately elevated to the stage of attachment to Krishna. That's the purpose, to come to a stage of being attached to Krishna. There are prescribed rules and regulations to follow. Things to do, things not to do. We don't break the four regulative principles, that we don't. But what we do is the positive, chanting Krishna's names. We don't do certain things because that will contaminate our heart further, so we stop that. And then we do we take the necessary measures to clean our heart. We chant Hare Krishna, we engage in devotional service, we cook for Krishna, we work for Krishna, we hear the Bhagavad Gita in association of devotees, we go to holy dhams to hear Krishna's pastimes, we stay in a temple in a spiritual atmosphere. That's all sadhana. That's what ISKCON provides. But not only that, we will see. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, the senses become purified, and in the purified state they come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. So, by that activity, your heart will become purified, and you will be able to think always of Krishna. For spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure states of love. So, to love Krishna, one must have a pure heart. Otherwise, the love is projected on oneself, I and mine. And one laments and this and that. This lamentation and this hankering is due to ignorance, thinking something is valuable in this world. This body and mind will give me some happiness. But we have to learn this lesson, that this is not so. And sometimes learning the lesson is hard. Krishna gives you a test. Unless you understand, nothing to strive for in this world. Just love Krishna. The love of God is now dormant, in a dormant state in our heart, because That's our natural state. We all want to love and to be loved. But in our perverted conditional state, we project it to things in this world. That we think we serve our boss. The man serves the wife the man, and when there's no family, they serve their dog. But service, that's what they are rendering. But that's natural. That's our condition. Everyone serves. But this service has to be redirected to the source, to our original source, which is Krishna. And it's natural. But when it's misdirected, it's just a cause of suffering, false expectations. That's, she loves me not. She loves me not. It's a disease of the heart. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and the dormant natural love for Krishna has to be revived. That is the whole process. This practice of Bhakti Yoga under the rules of regulations with the direction of the spiritual master will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. But many people have this Daurbalyam, weakness of heart, too attached to eating, to sense gratification and all these things. It's called, asadrishta, taste for dead things in this world that's going to give me happiness. And they are too much in a mode of passion and ignorance. They cannot give it up. No time to chant. No time to hear Bhagavad Gita. Too busy, Prabhu. Too much things to do. No time. No time to follow the Bhakti Shastri course. I'm sorry. Not possible. Too busy with my family, with my work. That's important. This is foolishness. But unfortunately many are on that stage. And they cannot take to the sadhana with their heart. But what should we do? Should we tell them get lost? No, we must also engage them so that they ultimately can come to that higher stage. And that's what Krishna says in the next. Abhyasa priyasamartusmi matkarma paramobhava matartamapi karmani kurvam sinnima vapyasi. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to me to the perfect stage. Yeah. So, working for Krishna, doing some service. That's in our temple in Belfast, we have people who come on Sunday, and one is a gardener. We engage them for a few hours in the garden to help with the gardening. That another, we engage in washing the pots and cleaning everything after the Sunday feast. Another we engage and they give donations, charity. By all these activities they become purified. And one day they will come to the point of performing sadhana. And that should be part of our preaching plan. Should not forget that. Also engage these persons. That they are friends of Krishna, they are sympathetic to the movement. Engage them. Yes. So, in the purport, the only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification, for mine. I want a salary to enjoy. And they are fruitive, Srila Prabhupada said. They want the fruits, the results for their enjoyment. But the same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activities. So, inspire people to give donations, that will purify them, we use in the service of Krishna. That I have many congregational members, they come on a Sunday and they put something on the altar, some boga they bring. It's a nectar of devotion we will learn. If one goes to the temple, one is going to see Krishna, bring something to offer him to him, a flower, or you bring some fruits or some vegetables. You give something to Krishna. That's in the same category, encouraging them. So it's a preaching plan for our temple. Give room for those who are into sadhana, to perform their sadhana in association of devotees in a spiritual atmosphere, but also room for those who are on that platform. Engage them. That, like in was Shayananda, he organized the first Ratha Yatra, and he was building the rat cart outside near to the street, and he had, for the construction, he needed some help, and it took someone from the street. He said, "Can you hold it for a moment?" Then he was nailing. I know this. And so he got so many people from the street, and they were helping him, and then he was serving them prasad. So we must learn that art to engage others in the service of Krishna. It's important. And now, but unfortunately, some even cannot do that. For social reason or whatever. No time of the family says, no, go, you cannot go to this temple. This is the Krishna sect, you cannot go. That you stay here. So one cannot go for cultural reasons or whatever. Still, one can make spiritual advancement. That's the lowest stage, and that's more an indirect stage. This lowest stage, and that's explained in 12. Sheri Jnana Papyasa Jnana Jnanam Vishishate Jnana Karma Phalatyagas Tyagashanti Anantaram. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. So we distribute books for these people. They can read at home at least. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. Purport. As mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service, the way of regulative principles and the way of full attachment in love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge. Healthy knowledge will develop to the point of meditation, and by meditation one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by gradual process. But in all cases, one should give up the results of fruit of labor. This means to employ the results of karma for some good cause. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the direct method. And the other method involves renouncing the fruits of one's activities. Then one comes to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, and to the stage of understanding the super soul, and then to the stage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One may take either step-by-step process or direct path. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it's the direct method, and it's stressed everyone advised to take to the direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have 12:8, 12:9, 12:10 is a direct process, and the last verse is the indirect process. There is a similarity with the different yoga systems. So first working for Krishna, and then one goes purified and developing knowledge, study, and then one goes to meditation and start to chant Hare Krishna. Well, there is a progression, but better to take the direct path. So the lowest stage is not so recommended. That should be our preaching plan, at least to engage everyone at least in work for Krishna, and bring them to sadhana, and then to. So these are the progressive stages of devotion. Maybe a question for your exam. What are the progressive stages of devotion explained in chapter 4? Good idea to explain that. Could you explain it now?
Chapter 4?
No. The verses that we discussed now.
The 12, verse 12.
Verse 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10 and 11.
Okay.
So what?
This is the process of a process of attaining Krishna. Different ways of attaining Krishna.
Different stages.
Different stages of attaining
From lower
Krishna.
stages to higher stages.
But
The higher stages, the high stages,
the highest, fix your mind upon me.
yeah,
basically.
always thinking of
Think me,
Krishna.
yeah.
And then the stage before is,
Before that is desire to attain Krishna.
one word,
Desire.
sadhana.
Sadhana, yes.
So the highest is thinking of Krishna.
Desire to attain.
Then
Sadhana.
to develop the desire
Develop
to
the
think of
desire.
Krishna. And when we cannot do sadhana,
Working.
work for Krishna.
Krishna.
And when one cannot work for Krishna,
Just engaging in
Develop knowledge.
develop knowledge and so on. Yeah. But the last is the indirect process. The other three are the direct process. We get this? Okay? That's all what you need to know. But you have to practice it in your preaching. Make a plan according to the stages for your project here. But I think you are doing that already. Not everyone who does the service here is on the level of sadhana, probably. Not everyone. Okay. And now, if you go to these stages of devotion, then you will develop all qualities, spiritual qualities. The spiritual qualities are already in our heart, in the soul. They cannot be destroyed, but they are covered over now. We lost them, but they will be revived again. The qualities of the soul. And by observing these spiritual qualities, we can understand on what level that we are. To what extent have we developed these qualities? These qualities start with verse 13. Can we go to the next one? So what I will do is, I will first read all these verses. Just read them and you hear. Then you hear all these qualities. Then I will go back to explain some of them. So we start with text 13-14. Advesta sarva bhutanam maitra karune evasya. Nirmamo nirankaha samudukam sukha sami. Santustasatam yogi yatatma dritta nissaya mayakpita mano buddhya yomad bhakta same priya. One who is not envious, but who is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Yasmano vichvache loko lokano vichati saya asama sabayot veher muktiya sasame priya. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. Anapeksat shirtaksha udasino katavyata sabrahma prichaya yomad bhakta same priya. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result is very dear to me. Yona shishatina tvestina shustina kangstina sabaspa prichaya bhaktimamya same priya. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. Smasatra samitrisha tatamana pamaneo sitoshna tukadukatu samasanga vivarchita tulyaninda sutirmana santusta yena kena chita nikita stiramatir bhaktimam ye me priyo nara. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, eat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Yetu dharmamritam idam yatuktam parapashte shadadanam atparama bhaktastitiva me priya. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and will completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So these are all spiritual qualities. And Krishna gives us this list, and after each verse he says, a person who has developed them is very dear to me. So that's how we become dear to Krishna. Advesta sarva bhutanam, meaning being non-envious to all living beings. The reason why we are in this prison house of the material world is envy of Krishna. That's the problem. Envy of Krishna. We're thinking, why is Krishna the only enjoyer? Why must he own everything? Why he? That's, and one desires to take Krishna's position. Also to be the enjoyer, the proprietor, the controller. But Krishna is the well-wisher of all living entities. We cannot be separated from Krishna. Krishna is in our heart. No way. But, and that's a problem. If you want to be the controller and you see always a controller in your heart, there is no fun. Krishna says, yes, you want that, but I will fulfill your desire that you can think you are the controller, you are the enjoyer. But to do that, you have to forget me. Otherwise, there is no fun. So it starts with this envy, and then we get this body, subtle and gross body. And we start thinking ourselves the doers. And we forget Krishna. We think Krishna is not here in this material world. Everything depends on my endeavor. Everything is for my enjoyment. I'm the controller. That's called Maya. By Maya, which starts with this envy, one forgets Krishna. If one forgets Krishna, one forgets oneself. And one forgets one's relationship with Krishna. One thinks himself as the body. And that identification with the body, we think the body, that's what I am. That I'm this body. When the body dies, I'm finished. I'm thinking I'm the body. And then the disease becomes more intense. I want to enjoy, I'm the enjoyer. So I want this to be mine, for my enjoyment. So from the envy becomes from getting Krishna, I'm the enjoyer and this is mine. What's happening? So these stages, they are described in the Bhagavatam. So here, Mr. Krishna Prabhu, we have the same thing. The Bhagavatam explains all this in detail, really. That explains these 5 stages of illusion in the 2nd chapter. When Brahma starts his Visarga, there it's explained that yes, first we forget Krishna, that's called avidya or tamas, ignorance. And then one forgets Krishna and one forgets oneself and one thinks himself the body. And that's my I, this body, I'm a man or a woman or whatever. And that's called in Sanskrit moha, illusion. And then, but next step, this is mine. This is for my enjoyment, this is mine. The concept of mine comes. And that's extended selfishness. And that's called mahamoha, great illusion. And then, from that another problem comes, tamisha. Because one thinks this is mine, but everything changes in this world. You have money on the bank and the money devaluates, of the tax bill comes, or you have a car and you get an accident, you lose it. And when you lose it, you think you lose it because it was mine. It's painful. This pain comes from thinking things are mine. If you don't think this is mine, what's the point? There's no suffering. But it's attachment you have created. And that's tamisha, suffering. And that comes, and that is the fifth illusion is andatamisha. When the body dies, I'm finished.
What Tamishra?
Suffering.
What Tamishra?
Tamisha, andatamisha.
Anda.
The ultimate suffering. Andatamisha, yeah. That's also explained in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, Krishna Krishna. It's explained the 2nd time there.
11th canto?
Yeah, in the Uddhav Gita.
And the 2nd chapter,
There-
where exactly?
But Krishna uses other terms. That
In the 2nd chapter, where exactly?
27th chapter, I don't know exactly. I can't remember everything.
Yeah.
I want to be an encyclopedia, but I'm not. Yeah. But there Krishna says it starts with avidya, which is forgetting ourselves, because we forget Krishna. That's the same thing, avidya. And then Ashmita comes, false ego, that's I and mine. And I and mine means we develop what are the characteristics of I and mine. It's raga, dvesha, the next two. attachment and aversion.
You said the 5 kleshas?
Yeah, attachment and aversion. Yeah, they are also the source of suffering. All these 5 are.
Abhinivesha.
Yeah,
The last
Abhinivesha is the last one. So these 5. That's the 11th
Raga,
canto.
Dvesha, attachment and? Raga, Dvesha, attachment.
Attachment and aversion. Raga is attachment, Dvesha is aversion. Yeah. That leads to Abhinivesha, thinking I'm going to die, yeah, everything is finished. Fear of death. So it starts all with envy. So becoming spiritual advanced means giving up this envy. And if you don't have envy anymore, then you become the friend of everything, everyone. Because why are we blocked in our relationships? I don't like this person because he does not like what I like. And I like this person because he's my well-wisher. He gives everything what I desire to enjoy. He's my friend. That's how this develops attachment and aversion. But one has given up one's attachment and aversion. Then, because why does one develop bad qualities? Why is one going to lie, for example? Because one is afraid to lose something, some benefit for enjoyment. That's why we lie. All these bad qualities come from that. So advesta sarva bhutanam. You become the friend of all living entities because you don't want to exploit the living entities anymore. And that's a very special characteristic of a devotee. The beginning of the 90s, the first time I went to Antwerp in temple. Because I was an accountant, I was in my confection suit and tie. And my first contact with the devotees was very interesting. The first thing I remarked was they had time to listen to me. In this world, no one has time to listen to someone else. But they were interested in what I was saying. They were listening. And then they were serving me prasad. If one serves you nice food, you think this person loves me. But I was not pure in heart. So I was thinking they are so kind with me. But what do they want from me? That's how the conditioned soul thinks. What do they want from me? But I could not trace back any motivation. And such a person is your friend. There is no motivation to exploit. Relationships in this small world are based on you give to me and I take from you. But that is a relationship of cats and dogs based on sense gratification. We have to come above that. For that we have to give up this envy. Advesta sarva bhutanam. That maitra karuna evasha. That's because maitra means friendly. Karuna, kindly. And then nirmamo. One must become nirmamo without a sense of proprietorship. Very difficult for many to give up. That I've seen that. I explained that many times. That in Flanders, young people, they marry. And he said a Flemish people is born with a building brick in his stomach. They have to build their own house. So they marry, and they start building their own house. And they get a big loan from the bank. They are mortgaging the property. They have to pay the bank for 30, 35 years. And 30, 35 years, most marriages do not last so long. But if it lasts so long, after 35 years, yes, they are so happy, it's mine. 2-3 years later they die. What's the use? Why do you work like a cat and dog for some bricks? You know, to think that's yours? It's not ours. You become a slave of your activities. That you have to work for the bank all this year. Nirmamo. That this is mine. We must give that up. Without I'm mine. If one can give that up, it's such a big load which falls from your consciousness. Finally, you can give something and come to the platform of love. But without giving that up, one becomes a miser. It's a big disease. That's nirmamo. Nirahankar. Nirahankar means false ego. I'm this, I'm that. That all these positions have no meaning in this world. It's invented. I'm a man, I'm a woman. I'm Bulgarian. I love my country so much. Beautiful, most beautiful country. The Black Sea.
And the oldest. And the oldest.
And the oldest, yeah. So, that's, proud of being Bulgarian. But interesting what the Bhagavatam says about this in the 10th canto. That's a beautiful verse, very quoted many times, Srila Prabhupada. And it's so shocking. Yasyatma Buddha kunipeti dhatuke, sfadikala trati sabama ichati, yatirta buddha salena karichit, shakne sabesu saiva kokara. One who identifies himself as the inert body composed of, so what's this body about? Mucus, bile and air. So it's a skin bag. If you looked what's inside, the liver, the heart and so on, it's disgusting, but it's a nice package. Nice package. That if we think we are this flesh, that who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks the earthen image or the land of his birth are worshipable, who sees a place of pilgrimage as mere water, but who never identifies himself in kinship or worships those who are wise in spiritual truth. So what here Lord Krishna, how does he call such persons? Krishna is speaking at Kurukshetra, these are his words. Such persons are no better than a cow or an ass. Animals. That's what we are. If we think so someone who thinks the body is an animal. That's what Krishna says, pasu. That and it's more specific. A kara is an ass, ka a cow. That so we have to give up this nirahankar. What makes us think that we are this body? What's this contamination? Queen Kunti gives 4 contaminations. Sanmais prasudashibir edamanam vadampumam naivrati datapam tvama kinshna kruchara. So, says Janma Aishvarya. One more thing, he has an aristocratic birth, or he has an I birth because he's a Bulgarian. Or Aishvarya, I'm important because I'm rich, a lot of money. That's 3 sport cars, a yacht, so big company, CIO. I'm the big man. That Aishvarya. Shrutashibir, or I'm important because I'm a doctor, I'm a professor. That yes. That or one may ask, one might say yes. For Shuti Shibir. Shibir means beauty. I'm so beautiful, attracting all men. How long does it last? Look 50 years later. Look 50 years later in the mirror. What do you see? It's going like anything. So these things we must give up. That's keeping us here, this attachment, this false ego, I'm this, I'm that, that. But giving up this false ego brings us closer to self-realization. Sorry, it becomes too ecstatic. I'm thinking about certain things. Anyway. Sama dukkha sukha sami. One must become equal on happiness and distress. This happiness and distress is for the body. And where does this happiness and distress comes from? In the Bhagavatam, Krishna explains, Deina Tvinshat Shatade Kavram Javnam Charanta Tata Deantara Papti Diostatrana Mukshati. Says to Arjuna, you have a body, your body changes from boyhood to youth to full old age, and one must become a dhira. Dhira, a sober person. So a sober person is one who is equal in happiness and distress. Matras pastkantya sitasnya sukadukata agamapini napsyas tamstatiksvas vabharata. One must become equal in happiness and distress, Krishna says. Then one becomes sober. Tolerate heat in the summer and tolerate cold in the winter. They are just arising from sense perception. It's material nature gives us that. You have to tolerate. Because yamina vyattanti pusham pushashaba agama samdukasakam dhiram syomitatya vikalpate. One who can tolerate his happiness and distress, Krishna says, he is eligible for liberation. Liberates the mind from all this false ego and all this thing.
Which verse was that?
That should be 2:11. Let's see if I'm right. 2:11. No, it's 2:14 or something. It's later. 2:14. page 250. Yeah, Samtaka Sramdhyam Swami Tatvara Kalpate. The person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is studying both is eligible for liberation. So, that's we were discussing in the 12th chapter. That's Samtaka Sukamdhyam. Santusta Satatam Yogi. Santusta, feeling satisfied. That's explained in so many verses in the Bhagavatam. I'm just explaining a few of these qualities. I'm confident you have read the purport, but yeah, from the others. But I like to go a little deeper in some things, because if I'm going superficial about the whole thing, you will forget the whole thing. But if I go deeper, you may develop. Because Bhakti Shastra courses not mean preparing for an exam. It's getting instructions for your spiritual advancement that you have to retain during all your life. Don't forget that. This is not a course to write some paper or something. But we must realize these things. Bring it in practice in our lives. That's Santusta Satatam Yogi. Santusta, satisfied. Satatam, always. It's going together. Always being satisfied. That's an art to be learned. Whatever comes, good or bad, should not affect us. It's not important. That this good and bad is just for the body. That and why do we become absorbed in this good and bad? Because of false ego and nirahankara and nirmamo and vesha, raga, attachment and aversion. Because all of these things, we become attached. That, yes. Santusta. How to feel satisfied. This verse in the Bhagavatam. Tasyevaita payate tako vido nalapyate yat pamatam yoparyatam talapite dukapaan yatosikam kalena savata kabiram masa. It's a verse from the 5th chapter of the 1st canto. Narada Muni is instructing Srila Vyasadeva. He said, you should search for this happiness which is not available in this world, from the lowest planets to the highest planets. And then he speaks about happiness and distress in this world. He says, happiness and distress will come out of his own accord. You don't have to strive for happiness in this world. You will get happiness, and you will get sometimes distress. That materialistic people, what are they doing?
They try to get the happiness and kick out the stress.
Yeah, they want only the happiness part, and they want to avoid the distress. Someone here who has been successful in that? Someone here has only happiness in his life, no distress. No? But do you want the distress? No, but it comes, right? You cannot avoid it. So the reality is, when we take birth, the happiness and of distress at the time of our birth in our life is fixed. You cannot change it. That's determined by our own action in previous lives. Your happiness and distress for the body is fixed. If you are destined to be poor, you will be poor. You may say, oh, I'm going to do something about it. I take a job, I work during the day and I work during the night also, a second job. And yes, maybe you can do something about it, but you lose all your time in working. Just losing your time. Our happiness and distress is fixed, we cannot change. But the devotee realizes this happiness and distress that is affecting me only if I have this ahankar, this false ego, and this, and if we think this is mine, and we have attachment and aversion, we engage in this false ego, this happiness and distress will affect us. But in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Napasrityat prapya novichat prapya sabri buddhir stirmadur asamudur brahmavit brahmani stitaha napasrityat priyam prapya novichat prapya sabriyam. When we spiritually advance, if something comes for to give pleasure to the senses, the devotee is not interested. Enjoying the senses, because he knows. Krishna says, if you enjoy the senses, you will suffer. So he's not interested. Sorry, not interested. And when some suffering comes, the devotee is not disturbed. He's not disturbed because he knows I'm suffering because as a reaction of my own past misdeeds. So that's good, I become purified. Thank you, Krishna. And then one becomes stira buddhir, of steady intelligence, equal in happiness and distress. And when he engages in devotional service, and then happiness or distress, it doesn't matter. One feels satisfied in heart by this service. That's why if one heart is purified, it becomes ecstasy. And one forgets about the body. Because happiness is for the body, and distress is for the body. It doesn't affect the soul. It's because we are absorbed in being the body. If you go to a cinema hall and you look at the film, what's a film? It's some lights which are going on. And 24 pictures are in 1 second projected, and it gives the illusion that it's moving, because we cannot follow it anymore. Our eyes are too limited to follow. That's interesting. But there are some lights. But there is a personage, and all is on the screen, have a feast, and there is happiness and joy, and something humoristic happens, and everyone in the cinema hall is laughing, and then suddenly an accident, some tragedy appears on the screen, and people on the screen are crying, and people in the hall are also crying, because they identify with what's going on the screen, but it's just some light. That's what it is. In the same way, we identify with the body. We think what the body goes through, that's me. Because the mind is absorbed in the body. But we are not the body. The mind should be absorbed in our real self and activities of our real self, devotional service. Then it becomes purified. Then we forget about the body. So these are important. Then one feels always satisfied. That when you try to become a devotee of Krishna, Krishna sometimes gives you so heavy tests. in my life on the bodily platform, the only thing I accept is problems. And if something's nice happens, then say, oh, it's Krishna's mercy, I don't deserve it. But there is nothing to expect in this world. There is no happiness. Love means giving your love to Krishna, to the devotees, to the service of the Guru. That's love. Without giving, without asking something in return. Not exploiting. Yayatma Dritta Nisaya. Engage in devotional service with determination. That's the great spiritual qualities. That forget about all these material activities. Great determination. Utsaya Nishyadaya Tatat Karma Pavartanat. Sangatyaga. Satovriteva, that's another verse. That Utsaya Nishyadaya Tatat Karma Pavartanat. That one verse, Satpir Bhakti Prashidati, with the third line. Third line. So next year we will study Nectar of Instruction. Very interesting, Nectar of Instruction. And she's Upanishad. Upadeshamrita. Utsyanishyata Dayatatat Karma Pravartanat. Yeah, Sangatyaga Satovite Satya Bhakti Process. I was correct. Utsaya means enthusiasm. Nisya means patience, and Daryat means determination. So spiritual life, one must have patience and determination and be enthusiastic to be successful. These three are very important. Daryat, it doesn't happen overnight. We have cultivated this identity, this false ego, for many, many lifetimes. We become so used to it. These days, one is born in a hospital. I was not born in a hospital, but after me most were born in the hospital. Then next day, the whole family comes to see you, new birth, and you become the center of attention. What do they tell you? Do, what a cute boy! So, there you get your full stamp of false ego. Yeah, a cute boy. And everyone tells you in this world you are the body. You have this nationality, that, and so on. It's all based on the body. All the activities. Indirectly, everyone is teaching you are the body. There's underlying teaching in everything in this society. Therefore, it's a society of dogs and cats, because they are teaching how to live as dogs and cats, how to live as thinking oneself the body. At the same time, the body is most valuable. We use it for, it's a vehicle for self-realization for us, using it in the service of Krishna, to try to keep it healthy. So, anyway, there are many other qualities, but I explained a few of them. That please read the rest of the purpose this evening. And you will develop a few more qualities. All these qualities are explained in the Bhagavatam. certain persons will exhibit certain qualities and other devotees in the past times will exhibit other qualities. By that, by studying the Bhagavatam, we learn all the details of that.
Like Dhruva, determination.
Yeah, that he was a Kshatriya, that's special blood, that determination is needed. Yes. Good, thank you. Any further question? No? Then we continue tomorrow with chapter 13. Chapter 13, very special chapter. 6 subject matters we will discuss. That we will discuss about the kshetra, which is the body. The kshetra here, one who knows the body. That, yes, we'll discuss about jnanam, the super soul, knowledge, prakriti, nature, and then consciousness, Shiva. Yeah, we will discuss them tomorrow. We are entering tomorrow the section of Jnana. Jnana that is supporting these realizations. It's not less important, because we have said in 4.11 that Vitaraga Bhayatra Kroda Manmaya Mamang Pashuta Bhava Jnana Tapasa Bhutamat Bhavam Agata. Many sages have become free from attachment, fear and anger, false ego and so on. By the development of knowledge of me, they become purified, and when they were purified, they develop love for me. So before purification is going to the development of knowledge, we become free from our ignorance. Good, thank you.